Hi everyone, Heather here with another episode of What's the 411? And today I'm going to give you the 411 on the Nutribullet Every Grain Cooker. And you know what? That means I'm going to tell you some things that you never even knew to ask, but need to know. And you know what? I know what you're thinking right off the bat. You're thinking, Heather, it's a rice cooker. And you know what? Yes, it is a rice cooker, but it cooks so much more, and that's what we're going to unpack today. But first, I thought I'd give you a little tour of the Nutribullet Every Grain Cooker and what you get in your pack-up. First, I've got to give a shout out to Nutribullet because Nutribullet not only gives you a user guide, but it gives you a full-fledged recipe guide, which a lot of manufacturers are not doing anymore. Why? Because it's expensive. And what I particularly appreciate is that in both our recipe guide and user guide, it's printed in a font that you can actually read. You don't have to have a magnifying glass to read it. Okay, and that costs money in publishing. And this recipe guide is fabulous. Okay, and look how thick it is. Okay, they took some time and spent some money. And again, it's in a font that's readable. Oh my God, it's readable with colored pictures. So shout out to Nutribullet. Now, here's what you get in your pack-up. You get a measuring cup for your grain. Okay, this is 1 cup. You get a rice spoon. And this is your electrical cord. It's pretty long for the size of unit. It is a good size. And it's a 3-prong cord, as you can see. And this is your steam basket. And if you're wondering about the size, you can get an entire small bunch of broccoli in here. You could also do some split breast, chicken breasts, as well as fish fillets, about 2 of them in there in the basket. And this is your 10-cup capacity inner pot. And I just want to get so we can really see in the inside here. Let's pull it over. This is a 10-cup inner pot. Your 10-cup inner pot. So that means that you can do up to 5 cups of grain at a time in your pot. Now, another thing that I love about this particular pot, and I don't know if you were able to see that because it is a dark black pot. It has the water and grain measurements embossed on the pot, which is fabulous. Okay, so even if you forget, they've done all the thinking for you, which I really appreciate it because again, that costs more money to do that, and they didn't have to do that. So this is what you're going to get in your pack-up. And also, this weighs, oh, hold on, I just put that there. This weighs about 8 pounds. So it should be, for most people, very easy to carry. And the body itself is made of, feels like heavy duty plastic to me. So it's really light, easy to carry. So you shall have no problem with regard to that. As long as you can lift at least 8 pounds, you're fine with that. Now, another important thing that I want to tell you is that on board you have 5 presets. You have white rice, brown rice, quinoa, oats, grains, as well as steam, keep warm, delay start, and start and stop functions. Now, you can actually delay start in 15-minute increments up to 12 hours. So it's really great, especially if you're cooking a big meal and you want everything to be hot at the same time. It's really great that they've included that. And also, the steam function has its own timer, which really allows you to cook far more than just grain. Because if you watched my episode 3 on pressure cookers, where I talked about the power of steam and how pressure cookers actually work, you now understand that yes, you can cook a lot more than grain because they've included this steam function that comes with its own timer. So while Nutribullet hints that you can cook more, I'm telling you, you actually can. So be creative because you can use, and I'm going to show you again, this is a 10-cup inner pot that you can utilize using the steam function to cook, the steam function along with the timer to cook a lot more than rice. That, to me, is worth its weight in gold because that opens this cooker up to your imagination. Now, it is a rice cooker, and I'm not ashamed to say that, but this is where the magic happens. It's also a grain cooker. And really, the significance of that is that it cooks the full gamut of grains, including ancient grains like teff here and millet. And you're probably asking yourself, okay, Heather, well, why is that important? Here's why. Ancient grains have been eaten by humans on this earth for centuries, and they've remained unchanged, and they are full of great vitamins and minerals. And like, for instance, millet here also fights inflammation. And you're saying, okay, inflammation, so what's the significance of that? Here's the significance. In a nutshell, every single disease known to man, from the common cold to cancer, all starts as inflammation in the body. So if you can cut down inflammation in your body or eliminate it altogether, you've just eliminated your chances of getting a whole plethora of illnesses. Teff here is loaded with iron and antioxidants. Now, these are probably 2 grains that you've never heard of. And you're like, well, how do I cook them? The great thing about this cooker is that Nutribullet has done all the work for you, because in both the user guide and the recipe guide, they have categorized every single grain for you and told you exactly which preset to use and exactly how much water to put in your cooker. So it's a no-brainer. You don't even have to think. All you have to do is put the grain in the cooker with the right amount of water, which they've all figured out for you, and let the cooker do its thing. So you can try some of these grains that you may have never heard of and move far beyond rice with confidence because Nutribullet has done all the work for you. That, to me, is worth its grain in gold. Now, so here's another thing, and excuse me that, my little paper flew up there. Here's another thing that you want to consider. Now, you can disagree with me. Again, plenty of people have, but I am of the school that all grains should be washed and rinsed before cooking. Okay. However, if you're not a rinser, this cooker will cook your grains whether you have rinsed them beforehand or not. But I will tell you that quinoa, not only should it be rinsed prior to cooking, it should be soaked. And the longer you soak it, the better. I soak my quinoa before cooking it in this cooker for at least 24 hours because it, if you will, blooms the grain for you, and it rinses off any, undesirable things that, can be found on an in grain. And it just makes a delicious quinoa. And quinoa is one of my favorites. And it's also an ancient grain that is full of vitamins and minerals. And you may be one that, gosh, Heather, I've tried to make quinoa, on my stovetop and it never turns out right. Well, again, Nutribullet has done all the work for you. So if you love quinoa like me and you want to, add some nutrient dense, inflammation fighting foods, this is one way to do it. Okay. Especially if rice is already a mainstay in your family. But this baby can go well beyond rice again because it has the steam function and a timer. So you can really get creative using the steam function and the timer and go well beyond grains. Okay, so that to me alone is worth the price. And right now, the best price that I was able to find, at least at the time of this recording, was $68.99 on Amazon. Most other places that I saw it, it started at $79.99. So right now on Amazon, at least again at the time of this recording, it's $68.99, and it's worth its weight in gold, especially like I said, if you're like me and you want to find a way to add some of these nutrient dense ancient grains into your diet, and we're looking for a surefire way to do it. This definitely is it. And if rice is already a mainstay in your family, it's a great rice cooker. It also makes a mean oatmeal, just basically every grain that you can think of. This baby here can cook it. Some other important things that you need to know is that the inner pot that I showed you does have a nonstick coating on it, so you don't want to put it in the dishwasher, and you don't want to use metal utensils. And frankly, you won't need to. Another thing, you'll see the seal in here, it catches a lot of the condensation. So after cooking, you may get a lot of water trapped in here. What I do is I'll just take a paper towel or washcloth, and as I'm washing this front off with a damp cloth, I'll go ahead and do the inside of this and then take a paper towel and just dry it off. Um, and I've not had a problem. But if you also are listening to this via the podcast, or if you're intrigued and you just want to learn more, you can go to Nutribullet.com and view the product and check out all the great things it can do. And also, Nutribullet.com has even more great recipes on it. So, really, this is a gem of a little cooker. I love it because it has introduced me to some grains that I would have never had the opportunity or never even thought to try but for this cooker. So that's the 411.